One of your most important resources for the game is going to be your game book. And a good place to start with any book is the table of contents. One of the first things you might notice is that it's a long book. So we're going to immediately make sense of what we should focus on and what we can skim or skip, or skim and then read as it pertains to our roles. So everybody is encouraged to read the introductory section, especially the first 3 parts, the overview, take a look at the maps, and read the prologue. So that's just the first couple of pages. The next section gives you historical background into the game, and this is important for understanding who you are, what the issues are, what other people care about, but also this isn't a history class. So on your first read, you might sort of skim the historical background section a bit and then fill in the pieces sort of in a piecemeal way. The game and the roles and factions section, this is the primary stuff you're going to need to look at to complete this tutorial. You're going to need to know what the major issues for the games are, how we're going to play it, and who's in the various roles and factions. So a lot of the material when you are completing this tutorial is going to ask you questions, and you're probably going to find a lot of it in sections 3 and 4. And then finally, the bulk of this game book comes from the primary sources. This tutorial isn't going to ask you about the primary sources, but you're going to need to decide which of these sources to look at based on your own roles. So one of the first sets of sources, let's quick skip ahead to section 5 here. And here we are in section 5. So the first set of sources are newspaper clippings. The first set comes from India, and they're short descriptions of the practice you guys are going to be debating. And then the second set of newspaper clippings comes from British accounts, and there are 2 longer ones. And these are really vivid and interesting accounts of this practice from a first-person perspective. They're a really compelling read. You should definitely read these. If you go beyond these texts, there is information that different roles are going to need to look at. So use your role sheet as a guide to what kind of research you need to do in order to be effective in your role and to connect with other people.